Ahsoka Tano, one of the more powerful characters in the Star Wars universe and definitely an overall force to be reckoned with. At first starting off as a Padawan under Anakin Skywalker and slowly growing into even nearly being promoted to Jedi Knight, but she denies it in the end. During her time in the Star Wars canon, she has pulled off some bad and also good feats, and I will only be going into really her more important scaling. So like really the anti-feats that she has in like season 1 or whatever, the early seasons, like her like retreating against Grievous, I don't really care about that because I'm going over her later scaling, such as the end of Clone Wars or near the end of Clone Wars and Rebels. We will also be using statements from the writers that aren't contradicting and overall just apply a good scaling video for Ahsoka and just get all the scaling that everyone really cares about and all the good stuff, not really the boring stuff and then the good stuff. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the video.
Hey, collecting rings like a Sonic. Bitches wanna party. My wrist getting heavy. Got 'em on a diet, yeah. Flex like I'm Hogan. Yo, bitch coming over. We respect.
So for starters, we will be diving into Ahsoka from Clone Wars since Clone Wars happens before Rebels. Anyways, Ahsoka would be offered a promotion to Jedi Knight like I said earlier, and she would actually deny it since she didn't want to be in the Jedi Order. Meaning by season 7, she would at least have the capabilities of a Jedi Knight, and even before her season 7 appearance, she is able to collapse an ice cliff with Jedi younglings, but her own power destroying the cliff was about 13.25 tons of TNT or city block level. So even before season 7, she's already pulling off some pretty crazy feats, being city block level, and then even eventually being promoted to Jedi Knight. Furthermore, we would progress into season 7, and she would come across Darth Maul in a lightsaber duel. What's good to know about Darth Maul is that he is able to literally body slam Obi-Wan Kenobi in every single encounter that they get in, and the only feats that Obi-Wan would have on Darth Maul that isn't old Ben is being able to fight a Darth Maul who isn't trying to kill Obi-Wan but rather torture him. So Maul should be above at least young Obi-Wan, who Ahsoka should scale to, meaning she would at least be above the likes of young Obi-Wan, Savage Opress since he would scale to Obi-Wan, and any other characters below them. Now, another thing I would like to note about Ahsoka is her speed. Now, Ahsoka's speed is actually pretty easy to get into since she's able to reflect blaster bolts by herself, which shoots out light-based energy. And even characters like Obi-Wan, who I'm scaling Ahsoka above, have deflected blaster bolts along with Savage Opress. Literally almost everyone in the Star Wars universe have deflected blaster bolts before. So yeah, this would at least put them easily at light speed, and this scaling would apply to Ahsoka. Now, some of you are probably wondering, well, wouldn't Darth Maul technically be kind of holding back, or would be holding back to some degree, since Darth Maul was not only trying to lure Ahsoka to his side, but also was really freaking out over Anakin and the Emperor? Well, that could be a possibility. I do have actual more consistency to put Ahsoka to Maul's level. However, it is not in the Clone Wars series, it is actually in Star Wars Rebels. Speaking of Rebels, we can actually get into that now since, to be honest, her best feats in this season of Clone Wars or near the end of Clone Wars is her fight against Maul and reflecting a lot of blaster bolts. And her scaling to Maul already enough is sort of iffy because this Maul was literally shaking and pissing himself over Palpatine. So with that being said, we can dive into Rebels since there's nothing much to go over here. Now, Ahsoka in Rebels, she is definitely at her peak in terms of combat prowess. She not only even has more consistent feats of being able to combat people like Darth Maul, but she even has feats against people like Darth Vader. And Darth Vader is able to survive a 9.4 kiloton of TNT explosion or a town level explosion. And Vader survived this pretty easily, and Ahsoka would easily scale to this Vader, making her town level. Now, I don't think she's necessarily above Darth Vader, but she definitely does do well and even catches him by surprise, and as I said before, she was able to combat Maul pretty handedly, and she even has statements from an interview which I could link down in the description for you guys, for yourself to read, but basically they state that the only ones who could even match Ahsoka's power is Vader and the Emperor, With this, I would say at the very least, she is on par with Darth Maul, but you could have her feats against Vader and the statement to definitely make a case for her being above Darth Maul. Anyways, I would at least put Maul and Ahsoka in the same tier of power, and even people like Maul are in the Vader tiers of powers, and even above the likes of Count Dooku in skill, which would apply to Ahsoka since Ahsoka would be clashing and scrapping with people like Maul. Now after these two duels, she really only has one more impressive feat, which is basically her being able to react to the Emperor and deflect his lightning for a little bit, which could be used to say Ahsoka is much faster than Maul because this would be faster than anything Maul has done. But then again, Maul still has scaling to Ahsoka and even has statements for him possibly being above Ahsoka. But overall, I feel like canon Darth Maul versus Ahsoka would be a very close topic. And if you guys would like to see on my channel Ahsoka versus Darth Maul, then let me know down in the comment section below. Now ladies and gentlemen, after these two fights with Maul and Vader, she doesn't necessarily have too much scaling to go over, and now we can go into her hacks abilities. So with that being said, before we head off into her hacks abilities, I'm going to say here that Rebels Ahsoka would definitely scale to Vader and would definitely at least be on par with Maul, or be on the same tier as Maul. Now let's get into her hacks abilities. Now, if you guys are new to Star Wars, or for the people who are new to Star Wars, Ahsoka is able to wield a power called the Force, which basically allows her to use abilities such as pushing people, being able to enhance her abilities. With the Force, she is able to reflect and absorb energy attacks, along with being able to heal herself via Force healing. She's also a very skilled fighter in hand-to-hand and in saber combat, but saber combat is definitely her more dominant skill. She's able to use a form of mind hacks, aka the Jedi mind trick. And she is a very acrobatic fighter. I mean, obviously, because she's actually known for using the form Otaru and Jarkai. Otaru being a style that is exclusively offensive. It was even dubbed the aggression form for its reliance on offensive techniques, and it even utilizes high acrobatic styles. It also requires considerable open space for best effect, since Ahsoka is gonna need some, room to move in all directions and move acrobatically. Along with this, Ahsoka has Jarkai, which is basically a style that allows her to use two sabers instead of one, which allows Ahsoka to fight even more offensively. Hey guys, Future Tyler in here. So I'm editing the video and I just realized that I did forget an AP feat that I could have probably added in, which isn't necessarily one that should be taken like completely seriously, but I'm just gonna go over it anyway. So you could just argue that Ahsoka could be much stronger since she would just scale to Vader, who can make multi-continental storms or whatever. So you could just say that she's like, she should at least scale to country level based off of that, because she would scale to Vader. But I wouldn't necessarily use this because it's kind of iffy and it's very weird. You literally do not have to acknowledge this at all, but I just wanted to mention it. I mean, unironically, you can rank Ahsoka way higher, but I'm just kind of really going over her inverse scaling and briefly going over how strong she is in terms of other verses, or in retrospect, or in general, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I just wanted to go over that briefly. I didn't want to go too in depth with it, since the canon scaling already is kind of weird and not as strong as people kind of like make it out to be. So if some of you are arguing that Ahsoka could be higher, or maybe she's just lower, I don't really agree with the lower part, but if you do argue that she is higher, you are not wrong with that. Anyways, we can now cut back to the video, which would basically be about the conclusion part, where I was basically making my conclusion, but I might as well just keep this part of the video. So here's my conclusion. In conclusion, I think these feats should at least put Ahsoka to around the large town to country range. The country range being very shaky because it's based off of the multi-continental storms of Darth Vader. So the large town thing is probably a little bit more consistent, along with the FTL stuff. That stuff is still consistent. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I have Ahsoka around large town to country level and FTL. I am aware you can get Ahsoka way higher, but I really don't care. This is how I'm going to scale her, and in terms of her own verse, she's capable of fighting the likes of Maul, to even being able to fight people like Darth Vader, while not being above him in power, still being able to keep up with him and being relative to him. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that would conclude my Ahsoka power scaling video, and I already know I'm about to get a bunch of 50 fat asses just commenting as to why I'm wrong, but I don't even care. Well, looks like you guys made it to the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Your support means more than you think, and really I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and share with your friends. Also, comment other what ifs you would like to see on the channel, or anything you liked about this what if. If you guys do want to hang out with me and other content creators off YouTube, be sure to join the Discord, which will be linked in the description, where we basically do debates, game nights, watch movies, watch shows, and overall just hang out and chill. With that being said, I'm gonna get out of here and leave you guys alone. Thank you guys for watching once again. My name is Tyler. Peace out. Bye.